Hello, Tungsten Miner here. Today I am going to try to make an Arcane Bore. This is a pretty advanced magical device that allows you to accelerate your mining. And despite having played Thaumcraft a couple of times before, I've never actually made one myself. So this should be as much of an adventure for me as it is for you. Let's jump in. Okay, to start off with, what are we even talking about? That's this guy right here. So Artifice tab, kind of at the bottom. What it is going to do is you take this device, you pop it on top of one of these Arcane Bore bases, and then give it a wand focus for excavation, which is one you can stick on your normal wand to dig up blocks, but apparently this enhances its abilities, and it digs out a much larger tunnel, kind of a 5x5 corridor with the corners still intact. So that sounds pretty cool. Apparently you can provide it with some Perdito, either in Essentia or Vis form, and it will go even faster. And then it just drops everything it digs up back into your inventory, and you can point it in different directions. Sounds pretty cool. However, looking at this, we're going to need some great wood planks, gold ingots. This, unfortunately, is a little bit misleading because in this mod pack, unfortunately, the Thaumcraft doesn't really pick up the changes. So we can see, what we need is a blue dwarven pickaxe and a blue dwarven shovel. So don't pay too much attention to what's in the Thaumcraft when it seems to require things that are only found in the overworld. And regular vanilla diamonds are not found in Middle-earth. So instead, you got to use these things. Finally, air shard, earth shard, all pretty straightforward. Piston, no problem. Moderate level of flux, so that means kind of need to make sure your infusion altar is up for the job. Then 32 perfodio, machina, potentia, vacuos, and motus. So we're going to have to come up with a lot of different stuff in order to settle this. Well, where do we start? Well, I'm going to go get the things I already have. That's easy enough. I've got 2 ingots of gold. I've got... Nope, that's dark oak. So I'm going to need some great wood. But I only need 2 of those. I need a piston. So 3 of those. 4 of those. 1 of those, and 1 of those. So redstone, incidentally, is not found in the Lord of the Rings mod natively. But what you can do is if you've got rubies, you can grind them up into redstone. So that's where I'm getting my redstone from in Lord of the Rings. And I'm going to just make a piston. Fortunately, these arcane crafting tables are not merely for arcane objects. You can make whatever you like in them. So now I've got my piston. What else did I need? Earth and air shards. Air shard, earth shard. Whoops. And this guy. So blue dwarven. Fortunately, I've got one. 1, 2, 3. Need a couple of sticks. And I need a blue dwarven crafting table, which fortunately I already have from one of my previous adventures. One of those and one of those. And I think that gets me all of the raw materials. And then we're gonna have to think about these guys here. Okay, so where do we get some of those? Well, we head back to the front page of our Thaumcraft. And portfolio. So it looks like pickaxes for the most part, even wooden ones. So that's kind of nice. Let's take a peek at exactly how much we get from these different kinds though. So that gets me 4 for one of these. I think I happen to have a wooden one hanging around. Only 1 and a bunch of arbor, which I kind of don't need. Let's see, do I have any more? Just a regular dwarven one. I haven't scanned yet. And metallum. Yeah, so different kinds of dwarf essence really is the only difference. And I needed 32. So 8 pickaxes would get me that. But one more thing to check out. Wondering about these bronze ones, because I have a lot of bronze and I don't have a ton of dwarf steel. I get 3, it looks like, with a bunch of other useful essences. That sounds pretty reasonable. So if I need 32, I'm going to need 11 of these. That's 9, 10, and 11. Okay. So let's get started isolating some of these essences I'm going to want. Which of course brings us down here. So first of all, I'm going to put away all of the things I've already gathered on this shelf so that they're just ready to go whenever I get to having all my essences together, not cluttering up my inventory. All right, so we have talked about this briefly before. I'm going to basically just do the same kind of transformations I've done in the past. So I am having a quick look around to make sure that I don't have anything open. So far, so good. And good. Okay. Toss this in here. Yeah, incidentally, so you notice how this is going down pretty fast and that's filling up pretty slowly. This depends a lot on how many essences there are in the particular item that you're breaking down, not so much as an item by item thing like a regular furnace. So something that's this complicated, not surprisingly, takes a long time to break down. And the super handy thing is that there are 4 essences. I've got 4 alembics. I will have too much stuff to fill up all of them, so I'll be able to pull some out later. But I'm also getting a ton of metallum, so if I want to, I can turn that into other metals that I want more of. And the instrumentum will become useful once I get a... I forget the name of it, but it's basically a device that allows you to repair objects in a much nicer way using magic than the anvil, which kind of grows exponentially. All right, so that's all squared away. Let me get my goggles of revealing. And let's think about what's next. Vacuous. Vacuous. That should be not too hard. Vacuous. And I needed 16, I think. Yes, 16. And there's 1 per bottle, so that's not hard to come by. Just grab some glass. Make a bunch of bottles. Okay, that will do. And I'll leave 1 here. Okay, so that gets me vacuous. Now I need potentia. Potentia is almost always easiest to get from coal. I think charcoal is the same, but I haven't scanned any yet, so I'll just double check that. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, and I needed, I think, 16? Yeah, 16. This will give me some extra ignis, but that's all right. I'll find something to do with it. And then I've got my Perfodio already. I need Motus. What gives you Motus? Well, that's easy. Only one choice. And not Yeah, none of the Lord of the Rings ones either, so has to be these kind. I get 2 each, and I get 1 modus, so 16 of those. And finally, Machina. All right, Machina. Huh. Levers. That's probably the cheapest thing. But I suspect you don't get very much. Probably just 1 is my guess. So let's see here. Sure enough, just 1. So I needed 16. So it's kind of good to keep in the back of your head, what are the things that get you exactly 1 of a certain essence, and which also are not terribly, terribly expensive to make. Okay, so I think we've got all the bits we need. But of course, I've filled up my alembics, so I'm going to first need to cope with all the stuff I've gotten here. All right, so the Perfodio we just want over here, I think. Yep, because there's tons of extra metallum in the system right now, so we're going to close that up. And we're going to close that up. I've got a jug for metallum, so I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to open that up. And I may as well open this one up as well. There's a bunch of metallum left in the furnace, so I'm going to wait for that to drain off. I'll probably need a second jug. But instead of using jugs, I'm going to grab some glass files. Okay. Close that, close that. Now that instrumentum, I think I'll toss that over there. Okay, something clearly isn't right here. So I must have done something where I didn't let the last little bits drain out of the system. Oh, I left that open. So there's a suction for metallum in the system. And yeah, that's releasing it. So now I can open this up and I can open that up. There we go. See, that hissing steam lets you know kind of what the system is looking for at the moment, where there's a suction for a certain kind of thing. Close that, close that. All right, so now I've just got this arbor, and I'm going to get a bunch more of that in the end. There are a lot of ways to set up an alchemical system. This is the one I happen to prefer, but there's ways to do this with golems. There's ways to do this with bound jar wax seals. There's a whole bunch of them, and at some point I'll try them, but I haven't yet gotten around to it. All right. Some of these simpler ones. Yeah, so we can see what's happening here is the alchemical furnace has all the essences to start with, and then they slowly percolate into the alembics up above. So I'm keeping my eye on that top right-hand corner to see once a particular one has gotten completely emptied out. And I've got all the vacuos I'm going to get. And I'm just watching to see the full amount got transferred, then I can close up these valves. All right, I've got Machina. That looks good. I'll just put that over there. Perfect. Motus. Right, so I'm going to take the label off of this Ordo because I don't need that for my current task. And then I'll be able to stick this in here. Okay, nothing in here, nothing in there, nothing in there, nothing in there, and then Arbor. And I've got enough room in this jar for a bunch more. All good. Okay, so let's make sure I'm finished brewing up things here. I've got Machina, Modus, Perfidio, Potentia, and Vacuous. Potentia. I don't have Potentia. I've got Machina. I've got Modus. I've got Instrumentum, but I don't need it. I've got this. I've got that. And I just need Potentia. Okay. So I have been collecting crystals for a while. Let me see if I have. I do. So instead of burning up this coal to get the Potentia and then having extra Ignis left over, I'm just going to grab the Potentia directly from what I have already made. Drop that in there. But I don't have any extra jars. That's a little bit of a problem. And I have things that are not multiples of 8, which is also a bit of a problem. So let's take this guy out, drop you over here. That is still closed. And I'm going to pull the essence out of here. It's now in the tubes, right? 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is empty, so I can close that valve. And now that small amount that's left over is going to get converted to crystals. So this now can drop there, and I've got plain Potentia there, which I can fill up this jar. Okay. Now, if I were being cautious, which I am not going to be this time around, I would make sure that I had extra of all of these things, because if this setup were not stable enough, something could happen which would disrupt the amount of, the way that the process works. And you could wind up needing a bunch more. Perfidio and Machina, I need more than that. Yeah, see? That's why I double, triple check. So I need a bunch more levers. I'm going to need a wand at some point. Okay. And there are also objects later in the game, which makes a lot of this carrying of jars unnecessary. Machina 32, yes. Modus 16, yes. Perfodio 32, yes. Potentia 16, yes. And Vacuous 16, yes. The order doesn't matter, and in fact, the location doesn't really matter, so long as they're not far, far away from the center of the device here. So now, let's go grab all of this stuff. All right, so we will remember that the object in the center had to be that. And the exact positioning of things here doesn't make a lot of difference either. The one thing that does make a difference is that things are balanced. So I'm going to be using everything except that one because that's the only one that's kind of in the middle there. But it doesn't matter what order I put things up. Okay. So I think I should grab a little something to eat first. Let me get rid of some of these vials too. And pretty much anything I don't actually need to have in my hand. Because one of the things that can happen also is that your items can sometimes get knocked off the pedestals if there's enough kind of magical forces going on. And you don't want to have extra stuff cluttering up your inventory, which makes it hard to go pick up the item, find it in your inventory, throw it in your hotbar, and throw it back up there. Okay, here we go. So I'm standing back, and I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on here. Obviously, it's pulling in the essences it needs first, and then it's going to start pulling in the items, assuming everything has gone well. But in the interim, if weird things happen, then I want to be at hand to try and set them right. Okay, we've got the essences. And we've got the items. So, nothing weird happened. Part of that, in a large part of that, is that I have so many of these stabilization elements. So I've got a whole bunch of candles, I've got a whole bunch of crystals. All of them are balanced very carefully, symmetrically around the center altar there. And then underneath, I've also got a whole room set up with a whole bunch of skulls underneath. So this isn't as extreme as you'd want to go for something that has really high instability, but for something like this device, which has moderate instability, this is a pretty good setup. And as you can see, nothing weird happened at all. It just went straight through. I did use up pretty much all of my essences here, which is kind of good because I didn't want a lot left over. But it is a little bit dangerous, right? As I mentioned before, that if things go wrong... Okay, perfect. Now, that was not the end of the story, though, because there's still another little something we need to make. We need this pedestal, so that's going to be on the Arcane Workbench. We've got great wood planks, iron, a dispenser. Which one is the dispenser? That's the one with the bow, I hope. Oh, good, it is. So I happen to have a few extras of those. We've got a dispenser. I only have 2 great wood planks in there. And we need 4 iron. Bother. And a little bit of magic, and we've got our base. Okay, now the other thing this mentions, if you're reading through, needs 2 things to function. First is an excavation focus, which I don't have. Actually, I do have an excavation focus. So I made one a little while ago. Perfect. All right, and now I need a pickaxe. So I think what I will do, the best possible pickaxe in this mod pack is going to be, is the dwarven pickaxe. So I'm going to make one of those. Got my dwarven crafting table, dwarven pickaxe. Toss that in there, toss that in there, toss that in there, and that over there, that over there. Actually, I think I need a wand to shift what side it's doing things on. And it said it's happy to drop things into an inventory. So we'll bring an inventory. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Now, I don't have a source of Perdito for it to use at the moment. So it's probably be pretty slow. Yeah, I only have just a little bit. We'll bring... Yeah, we'll see what it does on its own first. Yeah, I think we're good. Gonna grab some torches here. And we'll head down to the mine and try it out. Alright, this is just a trial, so we'll just pick a section of wall over here. This will do, I think. Drop that down, drop that down. Ah, okay, I see how this works. So maybe you just click on the side where you want it to face. Okay, good to know. Drop that in there, and that over there. Looks like it needs fuel. It won't work at all without fuel. Okie dokie. Guess I will go use some of that Perdito after all. Fortunately, that Perdito is not terribly hard to come by. It's in cobblestone, so you can make a lot of it in a hurry. But I think what I will do is start with just the bit that I have, and we'll see how this works as a trial. Yep, no other sources. All right. Double check, everything is closed. Yes. And I will need a pipe. No pipe here. I've got some up front. Alright, so looks like this is the output there. Power of Peridito. Okay. Brother, forgot a pickaxe. I'll be right back. Alright. Well, actually, I got my pickaxe, and then I realized I had missed one thing, which is it needs a lever to run. So here I am, back upstairs, grabbing the parts to make a lever. Of course, it doesn't have to be a lever, it just needs to be a redstone signal. But that's why it isn't working. It doesn't actually require the Peridito, that just makes it faster. So now we'll head back down and try this out. I am a little baffled as to why that didn't connect, but my guess is it needs to be connected to the base rather than the device. Yeah. Okay, and kind of a little hemmed in here. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Well, I think that's a pretty good demonstration of what this thing is capable of. Seems like a pretty handy tool to have, to be honest, and I think I will be getting a lot of use out of this thing in the future. But that's kind of it for now, I think, so talk to you later.